listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, my email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. And we're heard Monday through Friday right here on the Starcom Radio Network, the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and, of course, X-Zone Broadcast Network. Our guest this hour is Ashley Garrison. She's been working in the paranormal field for 2 years, but it has always been a constant area of curiosity and somewhat obsession for her. Ashley has been running her group, Proof Positive Paranormal, for 1 year, and she is still an active member and volunteer with other paranormal groups in the area. Joining us now is Ashley Garrison. Ashley, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Ashley, what was it in your little life that caused you to have an obsession about the paranormal?
Actually, there was nothing that prompted me to be interested in it. I can just, as long as I could remember, I've always been interested in ghosts and watched the ghost shows, and I've just always wanted to be the ghost hunter, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there's nothing that prompted me, really.
Why did you want to be a ghost hunter?
Because that's kind of a hard question to answer. I wanted to be a ghost hunter because I wanted to understand what happens to you after you die in the non-religious sense.
Okay, so what have you discovered so far?
I've discovered that ghosts are very real. Very, very real.
And how did you discover that?
Through my investigations and the evidence that I've captured and the amount of evidence that I've captured in just the small amount of time that I've been investigating, I mean, I've captured some pretty amazing evidence, and, you know, I've had, you know, given my stuff to people to review that are experts in the field or with cameras and stuff, and they can't even explain half the stuff that we've caught in before. So it's just, and the more I catch, the more I want to do it, and the more questions that come up. So I think it's just going to be something that's never ending for me, really.
What's some of the evidence that you've gotten with your equipment?
I have caught full-bodied apparitions. I've caught EVPs that are very clear and audible. I mean, yeah. So most of it has been photo evidence and EVPs, I would have to say. It's a lot of digital evidence.
And where did you get your experience to become a ghost hunter?
Self-taught. I really didn't have any formal training. When I had first started, I started investigating with this one group, and I'm just the kind of person that kind of likes to do things my own way. So I still do hunt with the other groups in the area, but I just kind of like leading my own group because it gets done the way I want it to.
So are you a controlling person?
In the paranormal world, absolutely. When it comes to investigations, I am a one-track mind. I really don't focus on anything other than that, the investigation. And I can kind of seem overbearing, I guess.
All right, but let me ask you, where did you get the experience to call yourself an investigator? Like, investigators go to school. They take courses. They you know, if you're a police investigator, you're taught, you learn, you study. So what did you do to become an investigator?
Like you said, I studied, just not in school. You know, I don't have a degree. You know, I don't have this fancy title. You know, to me, I'm just kind of a blue-collar investigator, or, you know, ghost hunter, whatever you prefer to call it. I just basically taught myself, and, you know, with the amount of success that I've had and, you know, the things that I've came across, I think that's pretty good enough, you know, because, I mean, who can really call themselves an expert in this field, because it's all kind of based in theory anyways, right?
I disagree with you there. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Ashley Garrison is my guest. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal. Their website is proofpositiveparanormalgroupnw.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wiecka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wiecka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Linnea Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information, and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Starr does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Starr or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com. Ashley Garrison is our guest. Her group is Proof Positive Paranormal Group NW.com. You know, before we went to the break, I said I disagreed with you because there are some people who are highly qualified, who have taken courses, courses, have doctorates. For example, the late Dr. Hans Holzer, one of the foremost authorities on paranormal research. Then you had Ed and Lorraine Warren. Once again, they had a very long and successful career. Lloyd Auerbach teaches courses in parapsychology. So, yeah, there are experts out there, in my opinion. So what makes you the expert that they are?
Well, I guess it would just be a self-experience, you know what I mean? Like, I've helped quite a few people with hauntings in their homes and stuff like that, and I've kind of opened a few people's minds to the thought of it. Maybe I'm not an expert in the sense of education, but I'm an expert in the sense of maybe not the fieldness.
All right,
I don't know. I guess I would just have to say it's all basically self-taught. It just came naturally to me, and it's something that I just have a knack for. I don't know. I really can't explain it, I guess.
So you're a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, tell me about your group, Proof Positive Paranormal. When did you guys get together? How many are there and in your group, and what is your goal?
Well, we first started when, about 2 years ago. It was me and my ex-husband who actually founded the group. It was right after I had said, I was hunting with another group, and I just really didn't like the style of the way that they did their investigations. It was sloppy in a sense. So I basically started my own group, and I recruited investigators, and some stayed, some don't. I understand this isn't a field for everybody. It is terrifying at sometimes, and sometimes nothing happens at all. So, you're sitting in a really cold place for hours on end. And So yeah, it is really hard to keep investigators on the group. We have about 4 right now that are permanent. My mom is one of them. She's a case manager. She kind of deals with the computer and the website and getting a hold of people and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm a one-track mind. I go for the investigations. I don't want to have to sit there and deal with the computer part of it, you know. So my ultimate goal in paranormal investigating would be, actually, it would have to be, I want to know, this is my personal driven goal, is I want to know how they hold their intelligence. Because ghosts, in my experiences, they remember you. They know you by name. They can tell you things about you, you know, that they shouldn't know, and that's intelligent. They can remember who they were and things like that. So I want to know, like, without the body, without the brain, how does the intelligence carry over? That is my ultimate curiosity, because if we can still be that in death, then there is no such thing as it. It's just transformation from one form to another, you know. It's pure energy in that sense. So how come some stay behind and how come some don't? You know, why do they stay? Why do they help? Or why? That's my ultimate goal. I want to know how they still think. That's my thing, is I don't understand it, and it drives me crazy.
So what do you think about Albert Einstein's theory when he said, we are all beings of light? Now, that would seem to be the statement that he is making, that there is a connection between the spirituality of a ghost, a spirit, that can actually be traced and proven scientifically. What do you have to say about that?
I would absolutely have to agree with that, because my theory, I guess, would be that our souls are nothing but white, pure energy, light. You know, we are forms of energy in a sense, and when we are souls, you know, I mean, they can imprint themselves onto recorders or cameras, and without you seeing them with your own 2 eyes, you know, that's energy. That takes an amazing amount of energy. You know, the equipment that we use detects them by fluctuations in energy. So I believe absolutely that Einstein was right about that.
A lot of people in the paranormal field like to use buzzwords and phrases like quantum physics. Now, can you give me your description or explanation of quantum physics as it relates to the investigation of the paranormal?
Quantum physics? The universe. That's all I really could. It's just energy. That's all I could really say about it. Is that we are all connected. Everything on this planet is connected by energy in a sense.
All right, but how does quantum physics work in conjunction with paranormal investigators? And what are you seeking when a paranormal investigator tries to establish a link between quantum physics and spirituality?
That's not something that I do, so I really couldn't put my 2 cents in on that.
Oh,
I don't really, I guess you could say, I'm not really like I said, I don't have the degree or anything like that, but the evidence that I've captured and stuff like that, I mean, I don't present evidence that I think is fake or I can recreate or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I go and I put my nose to the grind when it comes to evidence. You know, I make sure that it's not fake or it's not something that anybody can misconstrue as being something other than what it is.
On your website, this is a quote. I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing here. Their organization claims that it is leading a profound transformation in the country. What profound transformation are you leading?
Well, yeah, I guess it would just be the acceptance of ghosts, you know, because, I mean, in the last 10, 15 years, the paranormal has become more accepted than it has ever been. Because why? Well, because of TV shows and Hollywood and all that stuff, you know. Well, I'm trying to undo what Hollywood did.
But when it comes, but I'm looking at the statement, leading a profound transformation, and what you just described to me, what you're doing. 16,000 other groups in the United States are trying to do the same thing. So what is profound about what you're doing?
Well, because I think I guess the difference between other groups and my group is that I want to not only help the people that are being affected, but I want to educate the communities around me. You know, I don't think a lot of the groups kind of focus on that, on really educating people on what these things are. Like, not every ghost experience is terrifying. And I mean, when you were a little child and you experienced a ghost in your house and you were so terrified, okay, well, was the ghost really trying to harm you, or was it just there? You know, like, you have to be able to determine what is terrifying and what's not. You have to, I'm trying to basically open people's minds to the acceptance that it's not something that's crazy, because people are afraid to ask for help, you know, and things like this. I think if the community was more aware of it, that if somebody was feeling something like this, they could feel safe going to a neighbor, because the neighbor's going to be like, okay, well, this is something that isn't going to be shunned upon, like how it has been the last, you know, since we've been alive, since humans have been in existence. You know, this ghosts have always been, you know, taboo, and it's, you know, if your house is haunted, you're crazy, or you're on medication or something like that. Well, I can sit here and say that it's not. You know, you are not crazy, and it's not something that you are imagining. When somebody sits there and says, oh, it's just your imagination, I call BS, because you know what? I'm sure some of it is.
Okay,
I've met a lot of people in this
slow
field.
Slow down.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, you said you wanted to educate people about the paranormal, but how can you educate people about something that hasn't been established?
Well, I mean, I guess it would just be kind of the more being able to understand it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily. Well, you guys, you're not helping. Sorry, I've got like my other investigators like telling me what to say, and it's like getting me confused. So, my education would just basically be, okay, these things are spirits, okay, but, you know, they're human, most of them, and they do respect you if you respect them, too. You know, it's something that I understand that it's scary and it's overwhelming when you're experiencing these things, but if you can really look at it in the logical sense of it, that these are people. These are not things that are, you know, from some fairy tale or some made-up story. These are people that we knew, or people that just need help or don't understand why they're here still. Like, if people could understand that, okay, well, if you ask for these things to happen, or you do something that can create a haunting, because a lot of people can create the hauntings in their house because of its acknowledging it. No house, I don't believe, is not visited by any kind of spirits, because they walk everywhere. They're everywhere. So I think if people were more aware to that they are everywhere, and they're not there to just necessarily hurt you, they bottom line want to communicate with you, then maybe it would be less scary. Maybe it wouldn't be some scary story that you would tell your kids so they'd be good at night, you know, or it's not going to be some story that Hollywood's going to twist into be something that is bad. Because a lot of the stories that they tell are bad, and it's not all of my experiences have been bad. I've cried because of some of the experiences I had.
Sure,
you feel the pain and the.
But you know, it sounds like you're describing a society that needs babysitting more than anything else. Like, if a person cannot fathom or acknowledge what they're watching on TV is fiction, if they go to a movie or see a production that was done in Hollywood on television, and if they can't understand that it is fiction, you know, something's wrong with that person.
Unfortunately, I believe a lot of the society is like that. You know, I've come across a lot of people who really don't comprehend anything about the paranormal. It's kind of like, oh, like you are teaching a 5-year-old about it. Like, I've had some of these stupidest questions ever asked to me before, you know, like, oh, you're like the Ghostbusters? It's like, seriously, like, they are connecting that with us, and that is not what we do, you know. It's not, we're not out there trying to trap these things. We're out there trying to help these spirits, not only the living, but the dead, you know. And I think if people were just not so dulled by TV and internet and all these different things, that maybe it wouldn't be what it is today. It wouldn't be something that would be so hard to fathom, I guess. Exactly, just like you said, you know. But unfortunately, in the society that we live in, this generation seems to be getting less common sense. I'm sorry to say.
All right, stand by. I've got to take my news break at the bottom of the hour. Tell me, Exo Nation, are you believers? Or are you skeptics? Send me your emails, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. Ashley Garrison is our guest this hour. www.proofpositiveparanormalgroupnw.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, and across Europe on Radio X. I'll be back on the other side. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Thomas Jefferson was a Burgess of 27 when he met Martha Wales Skelton, a 22-year-old widowed heiress who was fondly called Patty by her family. They were married on January the 1st, 1772, and they took up residence in a cabin on the building site on top of a Virginia mountain that Thomas had named Monticello. As Thomas and Patty slowly built their first version of the great house at Monticello, the Revolutionary War was heating up. Patty, with difficulty, bore 5 children, but only 2 girls survived. Thomas's political career developed to the point where he was often away from home, but after he authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, he resolved never again to leave his wife. He was elected the governor of Virginia, just as that state became the Revolution's last battleground. The Revolutionary War ended in 1781, and Thomas gladly retired altogether to my family, my farm, and my books. But Patty continued to want to bear her treasured husband a son, and late in the summer of 1782, she died of kidney failure at the age of 33, 4 months after having borne yet another girl. Thomas was so devastated by her death that he never remarried. He mourned her for the rest of his life, even as he helped to frame the peace in France and then became the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. This story is true. Thomas Jefferson was such an obsessive letter writer and record keeper that we know where he was and what he was doing nearly every day of his adult life. Every significant thing he says in My Thomas comes from his contemporary writings. My Thomas by Roberta Grimes is now available at Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, Books A Million, Hudson Booksellers, Kmart, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, CVS, and online at Amazon.com. You can visit Roberta Grimes online at www.robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Annie Callahan, dedicated to negotiating a position for Earth within the Daguerreonian Coalition, had trained for 3 years to become an Earth ambassador. Yet, the very eve of her arrival at the capital ruling planet, she is claimed as destined mate to an oversized, mating-maddened vamp who swears he will never release her. Lord Aztaran, king of the Macian sector, has waited over 900 years for his destined mate. Having found her as an alpha vamp, he is unable to relinquish Annie, virtually holding her hostage until he can claim her. Yet Macians cannot survive without their mate's love. How could he strip her of her citizenship, her ambassadorship, and her freedom and expect to win her heart? With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is the latest book in this exciting series, The Daguerreonian Chronicles, guaranteed to keep readers coming back for more. With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is available on Amazon.com and KahiraO'Donnell.com. Ashley Garrison is our guest this hour. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal. Ashley, what has been the most challenging investigation that you and your group have done to date? I would have to be Northern State Hospital and Farm Grounds. I would have to honestly say, yeah, that place is a whole other. Yeah, it's a crazy place to go and investigate, to say the least. Can you tell us about it, and tell us about your investigation and what your findings were?
Yeah, the Northern State Hospital was an insane asylum back. I think it closed in about the 1970s is when they said it had closed. It has over 1,200 unmarked graves behind the gymnasium. It was where the very first frontal lobotomy was performed or perfected. I'm pretty sure it was just where the doctors had perfected the operation of the frontal lobotomy. It was a highly, decorated hospital, for humane care and all these things. And I mean, they were basically a self-sustained hospital. The patients built and actually ran the farm grounds and the stores, and they were able to, basically live real lives, up to a certain degree. And so when it had closed down, they put a few properties on it. So you really aren't allowed to go into the hospital, but you can go and investigate the farm grounds, and that is usually where we focus our investigations. And I've caught some pretty crazy evidence. I mean, even to myself, I have to convince myself, like, I think I'm crazy because the evidence that we capture is like, that's impossible. It's impossible that's there. It has to be something else. And I mean, we could never duplicate, or we could never recreate, and we can never make whatever shows up reappear ever, twice. I mean, I've caught a photo that I think is on my website. It appears to me and a few other people that 6 apparitions sitting on a bench where there is no bench. It's all tree line where that was at. And that was caught with a full spectrum camera. And I mean, it was captured in a concession of 4 separate pictures, captured in the same spot, just 1, 2, 3, 4, right after another. And that was the only photo that had shown up in. And so yeah, that was probably one of the best pieces of evidence to date until our last investigation that we did. And the last investigation that we did, we paired with the group that I hunt with, Bumps Paranormal here in Bellingham. And we all very loud, audibly heard a female scream. And I mean, this was so real that it scared all of us. I mean, we were all trying to find the person that did it, because it was just too perfect. It sounded too perfect to be real. Like, I mean, we were scouring these farm grounds, but there's no way that it could have been somebody messing with us, or let alone someone in our group, and I actually caught that on recording, and I have that recording. And I mean, all the evidence that pertains to the scream ties into each other, because about 4 minutes before the scream on an EVP, you hear a female say, "I just want to be heard." And then 4 minutes later, the scream happens. And I capture some weird mists in my camera, and you can hear me in the recording breathing like, "Oh, that's got to be my breath." And I'm like, no, because it doesn't look the same, like I'm trying to recreate it, and I'm standing by myself in the area, and you hear the scream, and it's between me and the other lead investigator at Bumps, and it was perfectly in between me and him. And I mean, I've never seen this guy so scared in my life. Like, I got excited when I saw him so scared, because it was, to me, that kind of validated it, because I do go in with some sort of skepticism. I don't believe when somebody comes up to me and is like, "Oh, I just saw a ghost run across the field." I'm like, okay, sure you did. Because you have to hold that sense of skepticism. So that was probably the best pieces of evidence that we've caught, other than we've caught in faces. I mean, we've captured dog faces. I mean, I've captured little children's voices. I've captured EVPs of singing and women, and they always say our names when we come back there. They go, "Hi, Ashley," or, I'm like, "Do you remember me?" And they say yes, and they follow us around, and they really don't want to answer direct questions. It's more like they just kind of join into the conversation. It's kind of strange how the evidence comes from there, because, like I said, I think I'm crazy half the time, because it's like the evidence is just almost mind-boggling. I don't know. I'll have no how to explain it other than that. That would probably be
I find it rather funny when the members of different organizations call it ghost hunting, because isn't what you do when you hunt something is you track it, then you kill it? How can you kill something that's already dead?
I can see it in that sense, but I guess I say ghost hunter because that is how it is best known as. That's how people are going to be like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. Because paranormal investigators are like, huh? Like I said, I've had some pretty stupid questions asked. Like, I've been talking to people about it who ask me questions, they're very curious about it, and they're like, oh, well, they'd like talk to you in like English and stuff? And I'm like, well, else would they talk to me in binary? You know, so it's like, I just say ghost hunter because
it's easy.
Well, yeah, I guess we do track down ghosts. But I don't trap them and want to kill them. If anything, I want to try and help them. If I can't help them, maybe I can bring somebody who can, you know, like a psychic or medium, not necessarily saying that I've ever met one that I have convinced me that they're a real psychic or a medium, because there are some people out there who just kind of do it for the attention of it, you know, and I get that. You know, it's people these days, it's kind of hard to take people's stories as, you know,
serious.
100%.
Listen, ask me. There's a new Ghostbuster movie coming out, Ghost Hunter movie coming out with, what is it, 4 female Ghostbusters and a male secretary. How do you think that this is going to affect the established ghost hunting groups when Hollywood comes out with another spoof towards ghost hunters?
You know, in the sense that it's the new Ghostbusters movie, like I said, people have asked me, oh, you're like the Ghostbusters, or you're like that show Supernatural. I'm like, no, I am not Dean Winchester. You know, like I said, Hollywood kind of, I don't want to like curse or anything, but they basically made it really hard for people like me, you know, because it's, like I said, people are afraid to talk about it. You know, they're like, oh, I just, you know, they tell me these really ridiculous stories to expect me to believe it, you know, because that's what Hollywood did. You know, okay, well, ghosts are 99% of the time nothing like what it says in Hollywood, you know, so Hollywood did a number on us that's going to take a really long time for us to undo. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, like you said, babysitting in this country is kind of a thing these days, because people are unfortunately not that bright these days. It's a generation of smartphones and dumb people. So
that's being rather hard on the public, isn't it?
I mean, they're yes and no. You know, I get called crazy for what I do. You know, I'm not calling them crazy. I'm not calling them necessarily stupid. I'm just saying that people just like to believe the first thing that comes along. You know what I mean? Like, somebody posts a video on YouTube of a guy running across a room in a sheet, and he, you know, does some fancy digitizing work to it, and people try to pass it off as real. When I go to present a piece of evidence, it's called fake, or I'm called a liar, or, you know, something like that. And that really does kind of irritate me, because I'm not doing this for attention. You know, I don't go out of my way to people's houses and spend my own money on my own equipment to go out and fake my own evidence. Like, that would just be redundant, you know? So, I mean, there are some groups out there that have done that before, you know, and I've heard about it, you know, but not that I've ever met them. I've heard about it, you know, but I've been called crazy, so why can't I call them, you know, small-minded for not being able to accept something that has been so widely.
But how can you say, wait a sec, hold on here. You've got dual standards, because you tell me before the news break that you want to go out and educate the people. Here you've got people.
I do.
Wait a second. No. Don't interrupt me.
Okay.
You want to go out and educate people, but when people come to you to dispute your claims, instead of educating them, you're getting ticked off at them.
No. I don't get mad at people. I absolutely take everybody's with a grain of salt.
Okay.
There absolutely has to. I love a good skeptic. Do not get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean is that I guess people, like I said, the ones that really have no idea what is really involved in ghosts and spirit world, like what it really is, you know, they're kind of just exactly, you know, they just want, I don't know, I can't really explain it. I guess I want to educate people. When someone comes up and says, well, that looks like smoke or something like that, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what was going on when the picture was taking place. Either they can take that with a, you know, to heart or not. Not everybody's going to believe me, and I absolutely accept that, you know, because I'm not going to believe every other ghost or a paranormal investigator out there necessarily with their evidence either, unless I believe that they're credible. Not saying that my group is completely credible. I'm not that well known yet. Hopefully one day I will be with the evidence that I present and the people that I hopefully one day help.
Do you realize what you just said? You said,
well, I just
you said my group is not credible. You just shot yourself in the foot.
I didn't mean credible. I meant that we're not like well known in the community, like how, like the ghost adventures, they're like to build our credibility. You have to build credibility, right? So in the 2 years that I've been investigating, the evidence that I have and the clients that I have, they've always been happy with what I've done. So, I mean, my credibility, my known, being known will be more known as my time goes on, just like how TAPS did. And, any other really well-known group out there, it's not like they just started one day and were completely accepted 100%. That takes time. You have to be able to know, people have to know that they can trust what you are presenting. And when I present something, I know for a fact that what I'm presenting, I, to myself, consider to be paranormal.
But
whether they do or not, it's completely up to them.
But do you realize what you said and how it has been interpreted by listeners around the world when you said my group is not credible?
Yeah, well, I can understand that because I said it, but I meant it in the sense of I need to build credibility with the community.
You have to slow down. Think about what you're going to say before you say it, because I'm telling you, I know these people. I know my listeners. You've shot yourself in the foot. So,
and that's fine.
So let's go back. Let's go back and try and explain what you meant. And do it slowly because you're talking fast. So explain to us what you meant.
What I meant was that for how long I've been investigating, I just need to build up credibility with the community and with people who are going to come to me. Because when somebody calls a paranormal group or investigators, they are wanting answers. They're not going to want to call somebody who's not going to know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So with the clients that I've had and the evidence that I present and the backers that I have, even with the small amount of time that I do have, I think that in time, yes, my group will be very, very credible, as in the sense of, you're going to be able to trust anything that I present. I understand, like, if I were to start my group, like I said, the first day I started my group and presented the evidence, I had, 10 followers, and then I had people disputing my evidence, and that's fine. And like I said, I would try to explain the conditions of the investigation, and if they believed it or not, that's up to them. Because there's always going to be somebody that's going to dispute evidence. Absolutely. And that's what drives me to get better evidence next time. To be able to prove it even better next time, to hone in my investigation skills, to be like, this piece of evidence was questioned.
It's all right.
And so now
if the evidence is going to be the same from one location to the next, it's not the evidence that needs to be better presented. It's not the evidence that's at fault. It's the presentation of the evidence. How it is presented is how it is perceived by the different people as to whether or not it's credible or not. The evidence stays the same. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because we've had some evidence on our website that is a video that no expert can explain, and that we've not been able to find one other group who's even ever experienced something like that. So yes, I am in a sense experiencing new evidence that I can't even explain myself. So when I present it, I'm presenting it as paranormal in the sense of not of ghosts, but something that I just can't explain. You know what I mean? Because it's something that nobody can explain. And I still watch this video in just complete awe, and I'm just, what is it? What could it be? It's not a glitch. It's not, it's not a laser pointer. It's nothing. It's no light because there's no light source. It's just something that completely steps out of the black void, and it is static on a video, and it's shaped as a person, and it comes towards the video, you know what I mean, or the camera. And no expert can explain it. They said, we don't know because it's not a glitch. It's impossible to glitch like that. So when I have something that is impossible and I present it, other people are going to be like, okay, yeah, that's obviously fake because nobody has ever seen it.
Or you haven't found somebody who can identify it yet.
That's, I guess, but I mean, if I'm giving my evidence over to experts in that field and they haven't seen it, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe there is one person out there who has. Maybe one day I'll find them and they can explain to me, because I would love to meet that person and shake their hand if they could explain that to me, you know, because I just would like to know myself, you know.
Have you brought the video to video experts, or are you just keeping it within the paranormal community?
No,
have you gone outside?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. We have sought outside experts because, like I said, like I'm not an expert in cameras or, you know, digital. You know, I thought maybe because when I first saw it, I was like, it's fake. You know, I was like, no way. But the more I watched it, I was like, there's no way, because there's no way that we ever could recreate that. There's just absolutely no way. I mean, unless we had such a sophisticated graphics program that, I mean, I can sign on to Facebook. So, you know, and it's just, I've sent it to experts, absolutely. I mean, we've sent them to 4 or 5 different experts, and they all come back with the same answer. We can't explain it. It's obviously shaped as a human or a human form, and they're like, we don't know, scratching the heads, you know, and I keep trying to find people that, you know, I can send it to, but it's always the same answer. And I'm just like, how come no one has ever seen something like this? How come out of all of the investigators and all the groups in all the world, how come I've got that piece of evidence? How come I have 6 ghosts? We've got to
take our final break. Stand by, catch your breath. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Exonation, our guest this hour is Ashley Garrison. She's been working in the paranormal field for 2 years. Her group is Proof Positive Paranormal, and their website is proofpositiveparanormalgroupnw.com. We'll be back wrapping up this hour here in the X Zone on the other side of this break.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation,
The house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter, opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com. Ashley Garrison is our guest. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal. And their website is proofpositiveparanormalgroupnw.com. Ashley, tell me about the members of your team. How many are there, and what are their functions?
Like I said before, my mom is the case manager, I guess you would say. She's been on a few investigations. She's kind of likes the computer side of it. Mm-hmm. I've got a few other investigators that are just that, investigators. I've got a few new people that I'm just trying to train, and they're quite young, so I kind of like that because they haven't really been influenced by any other groups or anything like that, and so I can kind of train them the way that I want to. It's hard to really keep investigators because most likely the weather around here, because in the winter we don't really hunt that much, so it's kind of just in the summer that we do it, and everybody works, and it's hard just to keep schedules. But the investigators that I do have, I trust very much, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I trust their opinions, and I don't think that they're, over-exaggerating in things, because that's just one of the things I can't stand, is somebody who just can see something in everything. So
you said that you don't investigate, or you do a few investigations in the winter because of the weather?
Yeah, I mean, because it just gets so cold. Like, we do obviously go in the winter, but it's hard to get other people to stay for the amount of time that I like to go for. I like to go for 4 or 5 hours, and it's 30 degrees, and you're standing in concrete buildings and just standing there for hours at a time. It gets really cold, and I mean, yeah, it's tiring, and you feel really drained the next couple of days. And when you work full time, I get that it's hard. It's definitely hard to get everybody all on the same schedule. You know what I mean? So it's in the winter we try to do less just because of the weather, the rain here. I mean, you can't really investigate a lot outside, or just because rain, you're going to get just contamination, and it's just too hard to hunt a lot around here because this is Northwest Washington, and we're rain. We don't tan, we rest.
All right. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Ashley. Take care of yourself. And X-Zone Nation, Ashley Garrison has been our guest this hour. Proof Positive Paranormal Group.GW. I'm sorry, NW. That's Proof Positive Paranormal Group, NW.com. I've never heard anyone say that their group is incredible before. Freudian slip? I have to read, let me see, where did you put it, Craig? All right, let me see. This is what they have on their website. Their organization claims that it is leading a profound transformation in the country. Their commitment to stand firm in their actions, which they believe will provide results and positive changes in their community. To achieve this, and this is a quote, "We have a team of leaders and visionaries who every day make possible the transformation they want, except in the winter when it's too cold." They also claim to have a very well-structured volunteer program which welcomes people of all ages, sexes, vocational, and educational levels who wish to be linked to the social impact actions they take as part of the core activities of the organization. You be the judge. My jury's already in. That's it for tonight, X-Zone Nation. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And as I always say, if you can help somebody out, please do. We are brothers keepers. And always, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. From everyone here at the X Zone to each and every one of you around the world, good night, everyone.